So what's the deal with this Thunderfoot guy? And I'm going to be lazy and not give you all the links. But I guess if you really want them, I could dig it up. But I don't watch Thunderfoot. I've seen, parts of some of his videos, very few. But, whatever. I didn't have anything against him. It's like, oh, okay. So that's not my cup of tea. But I saw a video by Jasper Avi, who was criticizing Thunderfoot. So I watched that video. And then I watched the video that Thunderfoot, which was to a guy named Dawa Films, who I also have never seen his videos. And, Thunderfoot was claiming about this veiled threat and went to the point of putting words in the guy's mouth. So the guy's speaking English, and he's got these words all over. This is him saying Muslims are going to kill me personally. And then I watched the video that Dawa Films had replied to. And Thunderfoot had absolutely made an equally obvious, somewhat subtly veiled, not really threat. And but the real disgusting thing was in this first. What is the source for as far back as I traced? Is his claim that in the Christian world we went through the Enlightenment and learned the age of reason, and that's how we overcame. Are you fucking kidding me? Has Thunderfoot paid attention to the world? I mean, that's just the most ridiculous thing. Especially, okay, there was an era where the West was much more fundamental, not so religious fanatic than the Islamic Empire, than the Ottoman Empire. Okay, while we were destroying ancient things, they were preserving them, even though they weren't a part of their culture. Much more tolerant. And you look, well, and you want to blame the religion as if, well, Christianity, yeah, there's some bad things in the Bible, but we learned the age of reason and still had slaves and wars and blah, 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 and justified it. And then where does radical Islam come from? It comes from the oppression of the Middle East, going over there, carving it up. And not just that, but specifically, we didn't carve out nations to be healthy nations. We carved them out to be puppets. We did the Roman trick where, for those of you that don't know, the Roman trick is you go conquer a country, find a minority, give them power. Why? Because they'll clamp down, right? Because here's what happens. Even if the people in a minority that aren't hateful about having been in this minority and oppressed or teased or whatever it was, and they're like, hey, when we can put an end to all of that. But then they get in and there's blowback, and even those guys, they're either silenced or they change their mind. It's like, oh yeah, well we'll show you, we're in control now. Crash, crash, crash. And so we screwed up their system. And look, when you put people under oppression, they will resort to their fanaticism. That's what it takes, because they have to get this mad. Rah, I'm gonna kill you back. They have to do that for their own survival and freedom. And not as individuals. It's not a thing that forgives an individual their crime. It's something that explains the sociological pattern. So if Thunderfoot really was describing a sociological pattern, then then there's another explanation. It has nothing to do with the words in that text, except for the fact that there are some available that are really old school, warlike, which is of course true in Christianity as well. And then also, I got a whiff that Thunderfoot is on some kind of crusade. Moderate. He's demonizing moderate Islam. Even moderate Islam is a terrible killer thing. To me, that is disgusting. I mean, the moderation of it defines that they would be more reasonable than that. And if they're not, then they're not really moderate. It's not like, oh yeah, you are moderate, but look, even moderates, and because that's a way to take the ones that are moderate and demonize them. And I went to school at well, no, I was in the dorms of a different school than I went to. Berkeley had rented some dorms from another school. It was very international, and we had a lot of Islamic students. We had some minor relatives of Saudi royalty. I had a very good friend that was Malaysian. The Saudi guys were an interesting story. That I always found interesting. But like my Malaysian friend, she wasn't just moderate; she was super liberal. There are beautiful parts of Islam and tolerant history to hold on to if you want to be Islamic and not be a part of a fanatical, radical interpretation of it. I'm an atheist. I believe all the religion is to some degree dangerous, potentially unhealthy, but I met a lot of people that manage to express it in a healthy way. It helps them ground themselves somehow, and they ground themselves as a good person. It does happen. So I don't know. Is Thunderfoot really just a big right-wing jerk or something? I could not believe when he made this claim, as if in the West we have yet to enter the age of reason, other than calling it that. If you ask me, um, I don't know what he's thinking or talking about. It sounded like a huge Christian apologia, all the more disgusting from someone that isn't even a Christian. Um, so I don't know, and I thought if of the two threats, I thought they were both out of line. But of the bravado, I mean, here Thunderfoot saying sleeping giants will crush you or whatever. I mean, Dawa Films was pretty careful. He was saying, Muslims and people that believe in justice will send you to your God if you become violent with us. It was very, very conditioned on if you're going to become, on you will have to become violent first. Now, I think it's idiotic of both of them because that's the way it always goes. Let's create a border and then say, I'm going to kill you if you kill me first. No, I'm going to kill you if you kill me first, because that's just waiting for some event that can be interpreted by both sides as the first move so that they can both have this war that they've been anticipating. But yeah, Jasper, Avi was right. That's strange. No, I'm just giving you a hard time, Jasper, because I know you, because I've met you in Stickum. I can give you a hard time. But yeah, you were very right. So anyway, uh, that's my view on the topic. And also, what's the deal with Thunderfoot? Is he just a big jerk, or we have our own? Is he just a part of the radical atheist, the fundamentalist atheist brigade, or what? All right, cheers.